Beep, boop, boop. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Earth2 Discusses WandaVision. This is your boy Mo Crosby. We're here to discuss another fine episode of WandaVision, episode 8. The title is Previously On. Oh, let me take this off so you can see my face. But yeah, we're here to discuss another episode of WandaVision. And I like this episode. I mean, technically, it's one big flashback episode. It's like one huge. The episode is a flashback, pretty much. For all intents and purposes, it's one huge flashback. But it does a couple things that we kind of needed to do. The first thing is it shows us in this universe, however, where Agatha Harkness comes from. So it shows us where Agatha Harkness comes from. It shows us, her origins from Salem, and she was a witch. And it shows us Wanda's origin and how we got to Westview. We have an idea of how or why we got to Westview, but we don't have a full idea of how or why we got to Westview. And I think the most important part of this episode is it shows who Director Hayworth is and what his plan is. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm going to tell you right now, this episode will contain spoilers, so stop right here. Go watch the episode, come back and discuss with me. I don't have Kyle and I don't have Roy to do this with me, so let's see if I can get it in and just get this episode done and out of the way. Yeah, so episode opens up with Agatha's origin story. Shows us where she comes from and who she is, and before she gets to Westview, and like what she's about before she gets to Westview. Apparently, she's a witch who betrayed her coven by using magic or taking magic that doesn't belong to her or is above her station, and so she's being punished. But in the act of being punished, she tends to seep the magic out of the other witches that are punishing her, and she becomes a stronger witch, kills her mother or kills the leader of the coven, and gets to move on and go through life the way she does. And then we enter into present day Westview, where we left off last week, where she's talking to Wanda, and the room she has Wanda in, from what we understand in this episode, she has her trapped in a room, and Wanda can use her magic or can use her powers. Up to this point, we know Wanda's powers are because of the Infinity Stone. We don't know what it is, but then she calls it magic, and then she shows Wanda a couple of spells and why and how Wanda is able to do what she does. She has a spell of transmutation. She has a spell of bringing stuff back, to life, and she has a couple of spells that she's been able to use to create her Westview experience, for lack of better words. So now she's like, I need to know where you got your powers from. I need to know what your powers are because I need that. And this is who I'm guessing this is who they're setting up Agatha to be, the person who collects magic. At this point, we haven't seen Agatha anywhere else, so I'm guessing because of the origin and her seeping magic and collecting magic from the other witches, I'm guessing Agatha right now wants to collect all the magic to be the strongest magician, or strongest wizard, strongest witch. I think that's what her purpose is on this show, because I think we might see her again. If it doesn't end for her here, we might see her again in Doctor Strange. That's what I'm postulating right now. I'm guessing right now we're going to see Agatha in Doctor Strange. The other thing, apart from that opening where she's like, oh, I know where you got your power. Oh, I need to know where you got your powers, is she now decides to walk Wanda through her. So I'm sorry. The biggest thing this episode deals with is Wanda's grief. So while we're walking through Wanda's life, or the death of important characters in Wanda's life, we're getting to see Wanda's grief in person. Like, we see Wanda lose her parents, with the whole thing with Sokovia that happens with the Stark bomb we get from Age of Ultron. Then we see Wanda go through the loss of her brother. And in the loss of her brother, she finds solace with the Vision, who ends up, and that's how the relationship strikes up. She finds solace with the Vision, and they become a thing. And I think, this is the first time we see them because this is technically at the end of Age of Ultron. We haven't really seen them, but before Civil War, before Civil War happened. So this is that in between a period. We see her lose her brother. We see Vision come for her. We see Vision pull her out of the darkness, is what necessarily Vision has been able to do for her anytime she has loss or she's experienced loss. And then we see her at the end of End Game Infinity War. This is the new. This is we see her at this time period where she goes, she comes back and she's like, he's gone. I don't even have a body, but you guys do. She goes to Sword, and she goes to Sword to go see his body, probably get wants to bury him. That is her reason to go for going to Sword, is she wants to bury him. But when she gets to Sword, she sees that Vision has been dismembered. They've taken him apart. It's $3 billion worth of vibranium. He's the most advanced AI in the world. Like, it's these excuses Director Hayward is giving her. Why she can't have Vision. I can't give you $3 billion of vibranium to put in the ground. Like, that's crazy. Even though I know it'll help your grief a little bit, I know what you're going through, but this is just what we have to do. We can't do that. And I think the other part of it, and I think something that's super important, is Director Hayward says to her, I can't give Vision to you because there's no other person who has the power to bring the most powerful AI back online. Back to life. And I paused it at that point because I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, is Director Hayward trying to coax or manipulate Wanda to bring Vision back, or that's what he's trying to do? And that question is answered because we get the end credit scene that we'll talk about at the end of when I'm done running through this episode real quick. So we're addressing her grief all the way through her life, death of her parents again, and she's and then we see her origin again in Age of Ultron, where she volunteers for the experiments with the stone, and we see her come into her powers. Agatha says, "Oh, so you get your power from an Infinity Stone, okay? From what necessarily was in you?" Because Agatha postulates that she already had powers, and with that, the Infinity Stone brought her powers to life. With the Infinity Stone bringing what could have been in you, what was innate and could have just died out, it brought it to life. So again, they're trying to sow. I feel like they're trying to sow the thread of mutants in this universe, that there are creatures who have or beings who have powers within them, but they're innate, and the Infinity Stone just brings them to life. And I'm guessing the way they could introduce them is either through a multiverse of madness, or you could just say after the fact, after them being snapped away and the Infinity Stones bringing them back to life, that the half the world that got snapped away had powers, and now they're back. I mean, you could do that, and it would work. It could work. You could explain and you could explain it that way, and it would make sense. That's one way to do it, or you could just bring them through the multiverse. That's another way to do it. If you're going to go full multiverse, then go that way. The other thing, that I highlighted again was, Dr. Hayward, Director Hayward, my bad. He now starts to play to me as he is the villain of the show. He's clearly the villain of the show. I think they've been trying to hide it with the fact that he is, like a government agent and all that other stuff, but they're clearly showing us that he's the villain. He's the villain. He's the bad guy. So we move past her and Director Hayward, and she breaks through the glass. She goes to go see Vision. I can't feel you, meaning that he's completely dead. There's no life in him. There's nothing. Even the AI is dead, and she can't feel nothing from the touching the body, and she leaves. Now, it also begs to question that Director Hayward showed Monica a video of Wanda walking into Sword and busting everything open and taking Vision with her. Or he said, no, I think the video cut off before she leaves. Or there's no evidence of her taking Vision, but that's the story he sells to Monica. And now again, thread, villain, simple. That's it. Director Hayward is the villain. We move from that point, and she drives to Westview, and she looks at I think they were planning on getting a place together, because again, if you watch Infinity War, they're talking about coming back and being together. And she looks at a pamphlet, or a little pamphlet that she got from like this housing neighborhood, and she goes to this plot. I think they got a plot of land. They were going to build a house and get a family together, and she blows up. Like, I think at that point her grief has reached an all-time high. Again, mother, father dead. Her father was the sweetest guy in the world. He showed her Dick Van Dyke Show. Um, and again, when she became a thing with Vision, she's watching Malcolm in the Middle. So they're a thing, and these are the things that keep, and this is why we get what we get, and why the show is built as a sitcom, is because this is what is in her mind. Her mind is fractured, and you see the fracture happen. Her grief reaches an all-time high. You see the fracture happen. She blows up, creates a house out of nothing, and then goes on to transmute the whole town into the Westview that we see on the show, that has gone through these different stages. It starts off, and then the last thing she does, which I think is the most important thing. So she's built this house, created her perfect Westview that looks like the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then she creates a vision. So the vision that we've been seeing on this show is not a real vision. It's technically a piece of, that's something she created, was a vision. She created vision for the purposes of the show. So again, three things that she did: create a house, right? Create create a house out of nothing, create her perfect Westview, right? And then and then she creates She creates a house out of nothing, creates a perfect Westview, and then she creates a vision. So the vision that we're seeing, the vision that we've seen, is not real. And that is literally how the show ends. So the show ends with that. She walks into vision. No, the show doesn't end that way. Well, that ends the flashback, and then we're now forward to the point we're at now. She sees Agatha still has her kids, and Agatha says, "You have all this power, you have all the power in the world. You have all the all the all this power, all this chaos, magic." And this is another time Agatha calls her powers magic. You have all the powers in the world. You have this chaos magic, and this is what you decide to do with it. You decide to create breakfast for dinner and do this. And all the times I've been watching you do all these things, this is the best you got. Like, no, no, tell me how you got it. And then proceeds to call it a Scarlet Witch. You're not, so again, now she's gotten, we've gotten the origin of the story of the MCU Scarlet Witch, pretty much. So this episode was the origin story of the MCU Scarlet Witch. It was important though because it showed her grief and how everything came to be. But it's also important because we get the origin of the Scarlet Witch, and that's how the episode ends. Again, from my point of view, it looks like she's a mutant, right? With the fact that she interacted with the stone and it brought out something innate within her. It looks like she's a mutant, and the stone that she interacted with, increased or increased her mutant abilities, or brought forward her mutant abilities faster than it would have if if it never faster than it would have regardless. So the other thing, and then the episode ends. The other thing, the most important thing is at the end of, so now we got a post credit scene last episode. We have one in this episode, and this is the point where I'm 100% believing that we have met the villain of the show, director Haywood. So this is the post credit scene. We're gonna just look at it together, and I'm gonna talk about it and react to it a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. That was not the post credit scene. That was that was the promo for next week's episode. Just give me 1 second, and I'm gonna grab that post credit scene for you guys. But yeah, that was the finale. It was pretty cool. We got a cool look at the finale, the final episode, but not the post credit scene. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Post credit scene. I think I got it, folks. Yep, I got it, folks. So just give me 1 second. I'm gonna load it up real quick. Boom, boom. All right, let me blow up my screen for you guys to be able to see it. Boom. All right, let's fire this bad boy up. There it is. That's that post-credit scene. Listen, it was awesome. It was awesome. So we're gonna talk about the post-credit scene a little bit. And the thing about the post-credit scene to me is what makes it super awesome is the fact that it it it's again, like I said, it's set up. It shows us Hayward is the villain, and it shows us why Hayward is the villain. Right? He's not just a villain for villain's sake. He literally. So every time he told Wanda that he was dismembering Vision, that he told Wanda in the episode, "I'm dismembering Vision because it's vibranium and it's too, it's too, it's too powerful to leave out just for anyone, right?" But no, he was dismembering it, putting it back together, trying to figure out how to get it to work, and he just couldn't. And now that he figured out how to get power from the hex, and Wanda has the power to bring this thing to life, and that's exactly. And we go back to that scene where he goes, "I can't give him to you. You're the only one with the power to bring this most powerful AI to back online. Oops, back to life. I'm sorry." He was trying to manipulate her to see if she could do it. And I'm pretty sure if she could do it, he probably would have tried to kill her right then and there and then taken Vision. The fact that she was able to bring a Vision back to life or bring out a Vision to inhabit this world meant that she had the power, and that's why he was trying to get into the hex, and two, understand what was going on in there as soon as he saw Vision in there. So yes, Director Hayward is our villain. Yes. Director Hayward is our villain. Yes. So two things can be true. Hayward is a villain, and Agatha is a villain, but I don't believe she's a villain for this show. I believe she is she's a foil right now at this point. Just something for Wanda to show off her powers with. I think she's going to be gone and she's going to come back. I don't believe this is going to be her last time in the MCU. Mark my words right here and now. This was a powerful episode. It was powerful in the sense that we got to see a lot of Wanda's grief, something that we've never really explored in a while. So we got to explore Wanda's grief. We got to see a little, we got to see her go through things, and it was kind of powerful because we technically saw, we can see things being set up in the MCU in terms of villains, in terms of probably how you're gonna bring or explain mutants, because again, snapping them away and bringing them back, that's a way of interacting with, or you didn't bring them back normal, you brought them back and something was wrong. I mean, Monica came back and she walked through the hex and boom, she's Spectrum. I don't know what other humans, like definitely there are other humans who could come back and could have experienced something. Not everyone that comes back is going to be a mutant, but that is a way to explain the mutation. Is when they came back, something happened, they mutated, and now you have mutants. And I believe that's the simplest way to do it, to be honest. But then you also have the multiverse way to do it. We'll see how they do it. But I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty happy with this episode. I'm pretty okay with it. I'm pretty sure there are people who got more powerful messages from this. If you're one of those people, down in the comment section, let me know. Talk to me. I want to hear what you thought about the episode, or how you felt about certain things that were revealed in the episode. What you feel about Wanda, because at some point, there was a point where I was like, yeah, Wanda's a villain. But her grief, her letting her grief get the best of her because of things that happened to her, that can make you a villain, right? I'm going to give her an excuse. I'm going to cut her some slack because, her quote-unquote husband died. Her brother died. She got to see all of that in person, real life, yeah. So, I'm gonna give her an excuse. I'm gonna cut her some slack. Her transforming Westview into this, I'm gonna cut her some slack. I just hope, I know there's gonna be ramifications of whatever happened with her in Westview. That is what I want to see moving forward, though. So the biggest thing I want to see moving forward is how she's going to deal, or how they're going to deal with what happens with her. Thank you very much for watching. Before we go, I think I want to see the promo for next week. I think we already saw some of it, but I want to see that again.
I don't know how any of this started in the first place.
The name's Agatha Harkness. Lovely to finally meet you, dear.
our home.
Then let's fight for it. Fight for it. Fight for it. Fight for it.
There was that little in one of the other promos, there was Doctor Strange, and I want to know how. I'm curious to know how that ties into all of this again, because she's going to kind of be in uh um the movie, the next Doctor Strange movie. So I kind of want to know how they're going to tie in. So now it's official. They again, one more thing before I go, they're officially calling it magic. Her powers magic. So that is going to be very interesting moving forward to see how they deal with it. Before we go again, let's take a look at the end credit scene for episode 8, and here we go. Wow. This is going to mess with Wanda. Yeah, this is definitely going to mess with Wanda. I want to see the ramifications of this. I want to see how they pull it off, man. Thank you for watching. Catch